Hi guys, Jeff with the Float Tube Fishing Forum here. So still working on this YouTube thing and changing things up a little bit, and I thought I'd start with a different angle and see how this works for us. So I wanted to do a little discussion about one of the topics that comes up on our forum quite often is safety, just overall general safety of float tube fishing. So I figured I'd cover a couple of things. Spent a good 20 plus years float tube fishing, and I've always considered myself to be a fairly safe individual when it comes to any activity I do. I don't like to push the envelope too much. Some people enjoy that. It's just not in my nature. I have a family. I love to get home and be with my family as much as I enjoy what I do. So really, when we talk about safety, first thing is you should know your waters. Where are you fishing? Is it saltwater? Is it freshwater? Is it a moving stream, river? In that respect, knowing your limitations in that water. For me, I do a lot of saltwater fishing in the local harbors here in Orange County. So I need to pay attention to the tides. Are they incoming, outgoing? We just recently had some king tides here, and we kind of discussed that. Probably not a good idea to go out in a king tide, although some of the guys did. They know what they're doing, and I'm not going to fault them for that. I think if you're going to go for it, go for it. But be safe about what you do. And I know there's a lot of guys on our forum. Safety is priority, so I was, pretty certain they'll be just fine out there. So for us, current is a big issue. Wind conditions. Is it going to be extremely hot? Is it going to be really cold? We had a tournament years ago where we ended up having monsoon weather come through, thunderstorms and everything, and people were asked to remove themselves from the lake because of the lightning strikes. In that respect, I think it's an unsafe situation. You probably should be getting out. You got to think about those types of things. So know your water, know your surroundings. Launch spots. I don't think people, well, I'm sure people understand this and they look at it, but they don't think about that launch spot as being a spot that is your safety location. Any lake you go to, you're going to be launching near a boat ramp. If they're more rural lakes, maybe it's just a shoreline that you're getting into. Maybe you need to think about, the depth of the water when you get in. Is it pretty steep, pretty quick drop off into the water? That may be a concerning situation. I remember reading a long time ago when you're getting into an area, maybe it's a good idea to have a rope tied off on some structure, a tree, or a post or something. That way, when you do decide to get out, that shoreline tends to be a little steep, and you help yourself get out. Never had to do something like that, but that's something I remember reading a long time ago. For us in the saltwater, when it comes to launch spots, it's important for us to, at least the way I look at it, have a nice soft sand beach launch spot. But even at that, how quickly does it drop off into the deep? And when you get into the water in a high tide, the water line is at one spot. But when you get into the water on the low tide, the other end of that side, your launch spot's changed. So these are things you want to kind of keep in mind. I know some guys might launch off the rocks. Never personally tried it myself, and reason being is thinking about safety. It's probably not a good idea as far as I'm concerned. Rocks are slippery, and you're carrying enough down to the water as it is. Plus, getting back out, things are going to change quite a bit. So as I was saying, tides and weather are big factors when it comes to safety concerns for us. The other thing that is a constant conversation on the forum, or at least something that's brought up quite often, and we've gone round and round about this, is life vests. Personally trying to make sure that you wear your life vest is important. Some people say, I'm a good, strong swimmer. I don't wear waders. I'll be fine. I'm not going to tell somebody they have to, but I do believe it's something we should be doing. Again, I have a family. My family would love for me to come home at the end of the day, and that's why I'm going to wear my life vest. I'm coming back home after it's all over. So when I first started, life vests were pretty much just ski jackets like normal people would wear. At least that's what I used to see and people were using. I remember my first time fishing out in saltwater with a group of people. I had a few people that had the orange PFDs that you find on a pretty typical charter boat kind of thing. The last ditch effort, safety, throw it on quick and save yourself kind of life vest. But the interesting thing was, these individuals took this life vest, tied it on a rope, and had it floating behind them in their float tube. So they serve the purpose. They're taking care of themselves. The vest is there. But the fact of the matter is, what if something goes wrong? You know, you should have access to that life vest. I mean, you can have access to it, but how quickly are you going to be able to get it on? I've seen float tubes pop, and I've watched people go down very quickly. Luckily, the few times I've seen it, close enough to shore that even though they were going down, they could pretty much stand up and they were in a safe spot. But the thing is, it happens quick. Okay, a lot of times people talk about they've had it happen in the past, and they were able to get themselves from where they were across the lake, across the harbor, back to their safe spot. That's great, but it doesn't always work that way. So, life vests are pretty important, and we should have them on. Personally, myself, I would use, or normally now, am using the manual, the manual inflated life vest, or manual and automatic life vest. My newer one, my newer life vest right now that I just purchased recently. The reason I like these types of vests are specifically because you can put them on and it's really like you're not wearing anything. The ski type vests, those orange safety vests, they're bulky, and I know why people really don't want to wear them because it kind of gets in the way and it's annoying. These vests, they kind of sit tight on you, and you really, if you put them on right, you don't really notice they're even there. I've gone recently now from the manual pull string to inflate your vest to it has a manual pull, but it's automatic also. We've kind of started doing some research and understanding these things. They don't get, damp and they inflate. They have to be submerged to inflate. So I'm outside of the water enough that this isn't a big issue. And so now when I'm out there, if something should go wrong, I've heard some stories of bad things that have happened. This life vest, whether I pull it or it hits the water, will inflate on its own and keep me in a safe place. Another item that actually is kind of neat, Life Light makes this little light right here. It's kind of a little beat up. It's my original one. Something I would have on my life vest, typically I kind of wrap it over the top and it's hanging off behind me. Not that it's something that's going to make a huge big difference in my overall safety, but if I do get knocked out, if I do get made unconscious while I'm in the water, once this hits the water, bright white light flashing from it. It's a little easier to be seen and found when you're in the water. A whistle is a good idea to have with you. I think you just go to any general store and pick up a basic whistle. A couple members have them actually glued to their life vest. And in that respect, it's a good idea to have with you to alert other boats that are nearby if they're getting too close. Or if you do find yourself in the water, to grab that whistle and start blowing to get some attention and get some help as soon as possible. It's happened in the past. It did happen to a member years past. Fishing in a harbor, he was moving backwards like you do in a float tube early in the morning during the week, if I remember correctly. And while he was moving backwards, there happened to be a kayaker, one of those long skiff kayaks that are race boats, basically. That individual was also going backwards, quiet as could be in the water. There wasn't anybody else around them at all, and so that person's moving pretty quickly backwards while a float tuber is moving backwards fishing, and ended up colliding into each other. The back end of the kayak came up atop the float tube and pretty much glanced off the back of the guy's head. Luckily, everything ended up okay, but you can understand that if something like this were to happen and he got hit pretty good in the back of the head, he would have been knocked forward in his float tube, unconscious in the water. At a life vest, what are you going to do? You can be a strong swimmer all you want. It ain't going to matter at that point in time, right? So on our forum, safety is a big thing. We do not talk about you don't need it. If you can swim, you're good. Life vests are important. Coast guards require them on our boats. Lifeguards in lakes require them on our boats. Most lakes that I've gone to will ask, do you have it? And I've never been asked in the harbor, although I know that it's a requirement. And you should have it. And if you have it, why don't you have it on? I mean, it's really what it comes down to. Safety's priority. We have a good time doing what we're doing, but it's amazing to really realize how quickly things can change if you're not paying attention and not doing the right things. So please, I urge you, if you're in the water float tubing, not wearing your life vest, start thinking about it. This vest right here, okay, probably not top of the line, most amazing vest in the world. I got it on Amazon, $60, shipped for free. Big thing when it comes to these, make sure that it's rated for your weight. Okay, that's the big issue. But it wasn't that cheap. I mean, it wasn't that expensive. It was pretty cheap, and I think I'm worth it. My family thinks I'm worth it, and I know that when I'm done fishing, whatever happens, I'll be going home. So again, this is Jeff with Float Tube Fishing Forum. Hopefully this kind of angle changes things a little bit. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to discuss. I'll be going through some other topics. Recently, someone asked if I would talk about modifications to float tubes, and I'd love to do that, so I'll be working on that here real shortly. Please let me know how I'm doing, what else you'd like to hear me talk about. If you're not a member of the Float Tube Fishing Forum, please go ahead and join the Float Tube Forum. It is a free site to join, free site to conversate on. And we're always on the fish. So thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.